Donald Trump is now less than 1 week away from his inauguration, marking the start of his second term, but the event is shaping up to be a remarkably embarrassing day for him, regardless of what he might claim when the dust settles. Despite any statements he makes about the supposed outpouring of love or the size of his crowds, the available data tells a starkly different story. Attendance at this inauguration is predicted to be downright dismal. One key indicator is the analysis of hotel occupancy rates in Washington, D.C., which currently stand at a mere 70% capacity. To put this in perspective, during Trump's first inauguration 8 years ago, hotel occupancy reached 95% the night before, and even then, the crowd was widely criticized as being unimpressive. Comparatively, Barack Obama's first inauguration in 2009 saw hotel occupancy rates soar to 97.2%, while his second term still achieved a respectable 78%. Trump's current 70% occupancy rate reflects an unprecedented low in the modern era of presidential inaugurations. The implications of these figures go beyond Trump's base. It's not just that his supporters are less enthusiastic. Even those who oppose him don't seem to care enough to show up and protest. In 2017, protests during Trump's first inauguration were massive, with tens of thousands of demonstrators flooding the streets. Things escalated to the point where police interventions and arrests became a significant part of the day's narrative. This time around, however, there is only one permit request filed for a protest group, according to the National Park Service. It seems that protesters have decided not to grant Trump the satisfaction of seeing a large crowd of dissenters. Their absence underscores a sentiment of indifference rather than active resistance, an apathy that might sting even more for Trump. If Trump's first inauguration was lackluster in comparison to Obama's, it's almost certain that this year's event will be even more humiliating. Despite clear evidence, such as aerial photographs comparing his inaugural crowds to Obama's, Trump has repeatedly claimed that his first inauguration had the biggest crowds in history. This narrative will likely resurface after his second inauguration, regardless of the turnout. Two people could show up, and Trump would still insist it was the largest, most enthusiastic crowd ever. The truth will be evident, as it always is. The photographic evidence will surface, and the sparse attendance will be undeniable. While there's always the slim chance that the data is misleading and Trump's crowd exceeds expectations, all signs currently point to a turnout that will be notably smaller than even his first inauguration. If the attendance numbers are as low as predicted, it will undoubtedly gnaw at Trump's ego, and his reaction can be gauged by how frequently he posts on social media about crowd size. The more he insists on his version of events, the more it will signal his insecurity about the underwhelming reality. What's especially odd is the amount of money Trump has raised for these festivities. Reports indicate he has amassed a record $170 million for his inauguration. This staggering sum has been contributed by major corporations, tech giants, and defense contractors, including Lockheed Martin, Microsoft, Zuckerberg, Bezos, and Disney. Yet, the lavish funding seems unlikely to translate into a grand spectacle. Instead, it will probably fund a parade few care to witness and an inaugural ball attended by unremarkable guests. If Trump's past behavior is any indication, he'll spin the narrative regardless of turnout. However, the numbers and visuals won't lie. Trump's ability to craft an alternative reality in his favor is well documented, but the data is equally clear in contradicting him. Whether the crowd numbers are low or the event's reception is lackluster, this inauguration seems poised to reflect a waning enthusiasm for Trump, both from his base and his opposition. Ultimately, this event may highlight a shift in the public's relationship with Trump. Where there was once fervent outrage or passionate support, there now appears to be a growing indifference. The absence of protesters, combined with a tepid response from his supporters, sends a strong message. Trump's polarizing persona may no longer command the attention it once did. As always, the full story will unfold on the day of the inauguration, but the current data paints a clear picture of what to expect.